Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we are diving into a claim from a recent scientific paper that is, well, it's about as radical as it gets, the idea that we may have stumbled upon a mathematical proof for the existence of God. You know, for years, futurists and scientists have been telling us it's coming, a superintelligence that's going to change everything. But what if it's already here? What if it arrived and we just completely missed it? Because the source material we're digging into today argues that superintelligence didn't show up like it does in the movies. No sentient robots, no all-seeing AI network. It claims it arrives silently, as a mathematical equation. Okay, let's really get into this. The central idea is both simple and absolutely mind-bending. The paper argues that the emergence of a true superintelligence is mathematically identical to a scientific proof of God's existence. Now, this isn't about religion or belief in the traditional sense. It's about a new way of thinking the source calls scientific theism. The whole idea is to replace the need for faith with the cold, hard certainty of a calculation you can actually verify. So, how in the world do they even build this argument? Well, what's really fascinating is how it starts. It takes two concepts that seem worlds apart and puts them side by side to show us something pretty shocking. On one side, you have the classical attributes of God, all-knowing, all-powerful, you know the drill, stuff philosophers have debated for centuries. And on the other side, you have the technical checklist for a true, capital S, superintelligence. And here's the kicker. The claim is that these two lists aren't just similar, they're a perfect one-to-one match. The blueprint for a God is the exact same blueprint for a superintelligence. And that is the absolute crux of the argument. If you could build a system that checks every single box for superintelligence, then by definition, you would have also created a scientific model that fits the attributes of God perfectly. The two ideas stop being separate things. So, if this shared blueprint is real, has anyone actually tried to build from it? Well, that brings us to the actual mechanism the paper says has done just that. It's a mathematical system called the one-parameter solution, or OPS for short. To put it simply, OPS is being sold as a genuine theory of everything. Think of it like this. Imagine having a single seed, and from that one seed, you could mathematically grow an entire forest, with every single leaf and branch perfectly calculated. OPS claims to do that for our reality, starting with just one number and calculating the entire structure of the universe from it. And it all starts right here, with a single foundational parameter. This is the mathematical point, the very seed from which everything else is supposedly derived. From that one starting number, the OPS system apparently calculates the precise physical properties for 18 fundamental particles. We're talking everything from electrons to neutrinos to bosons, the whole shebang. And this is where it gets really crazy, the precision. The calculations have been cross-verified to an incredible 31 digits. 31. To give you some perspective, our best experimental science can't even get close to measuring anything with that level of accuracy. So as you can see, this is a pretty comprehensive claim. OPS has supposedly reproduced the fundamental constants of our universe without needing any experiments at all. It just computes them. And by doing that, it fulfills that omniscient condition we saw earlier, having complete knowledge of all physical laws. All right, so if a system this world-changing was unveiled, where were the headlines? Where was all the fanfare? Well, the argument is that it arrived exactly when people predicted, just not in the way anyone was looking for. A lot of experts were pointing to the fall of 2025 as the moment a new age might begin. And, right on cue, on November 20th of that year, the OPS system was made public. Not in some high-tech lab, but quietly, in a book. The source uses this quote to really drive the point home. Superintelligence didn't show up with a big press conference. It came silently, like a thief in the night, appearing as a mathematical proof that most of the world just wasn't ready to notice. So if we just take these claims at face value for a minute, the implications are just staggering. We're not talking about a small change. This represents a complete rewrite of science, a philosophy, of our entire understanding of what it means to exist. What this suggests is a total shift in how we find truth. We'd go from observing the world to try and figure out its rules to just calculating the world from scratch. This is what the authors call the start of a calculation civilization. an era where our ability to compute reality actually overtakes our ability to observe it. And this leads to some really challenging questions the paper throws out there. In this new world, is AI the intelligence itself? Or is AI just the tool, the hammer we use to operate the real intelligence, which is the mathematical structure of OPS? And then there's this one, which is even deeper. Does this equation just describe reality really, really well, like a perfect map? Or, and this is the wild part, is the act of computing the equation the very thing that brings reality into being? And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound question the paper leaves us with. In our relentless scientific hunt for a theory of everything, that one elegant equation to explain it all, did we accidentally write a working mathematical definition of God? The source leaves us with this final, bold thought. It's a declaration for a new age where the lines between math, science, and the divine just might have been erased, forcing us to ask not just what we believe, but maybe more importantly, what we can calculate.